Saturday, we've got the women's on the Sunday, and the KFC Criterium on the Sunday afternoon. I'm Jethro from the Press Room Podcast. I'm a bike racing commentator. I'm here to commentate the event. I'm doing a bit of a vlog and show you what it's like behind the scenes of this epic Australian race. All bike racers know the go when you're at a hotel and you're digging through this scrunchy old caffeine looking for the blend 43, but it's all, we've been stitched up, it's all decaffeinated. Look at that. So going downstairs, they've got a little pod machine, so I'm gonna go fill them up. Some pretty big names have won this in the past in Australia, and a lot of World Tour names, a lot of real talented track riders as well. We've just had announced just a couple of hours ago, I got off the plane and the first news that I got was Chris Froome is riding the Melbourne Warrnambool, which is just crazy.
Hey everybody, it's Chris Froome here, and I'm really happy to announce that I'm going to be riding in the Melbourne to Warrnambool Classic tomorrow. It's going to be an epic day out on the bike. It's a very historic event, one of the oldest cycling events that exists actually, and it's also one of the longest cycling events that exists, almost 270 kilometers in length. It's going to be a massive day out on the bike, and over 7 hours of racing, I imagine. So part of my reason of being here out in Australia is to get a big workload in before I head back to the European racing season, and take advantage of the good weather out here. So yeah, it was a great opportunity for me to add this race in and get that racing in the legs before I head over to Europe.
It's just crazy. He's obviously spending a bit more time here in Australia, getting some more fitness in before he goes back to Europe. So he's getting the chartered flight, which, let me tell you, it's 5 figures to get that man on a plane. Tomorrow morning he's flying straight in so we can get to the start before 8 o'clock. But yeah, he's flying in tomorrow morning for it, so it's a big deal. So really cool to have Froome down on the line, and yeah, it just really picks it up big time for the race. Last year's winner was Cameron Scott. He's an Australian, 25 years old. He's riding for Bahrain McLaren now, or Bahrain Victorious is what it's called now. Jensen Plowright's won it. He's obviously at Alpecin Phoenix or Alpecin de Koenig. Who else has won it that's been on the World Tour? So many names. Gerrans has won it, so it's a really historic race. It's going to be super sick. Now, if you guys don't know, or you're here at the channel for the first time, what I do, right, is obviously the podcast is a big passion of mine, but outside of that, I commentate bike racing. So I was at the Bay Crits, I was at Australian Road Nationals doing the commentary there, and now I'm here at Melbourne Warrnambool doing the commentary live on the ground. So I'll be at the start, geeing everyone up, and I'll be at the finish, calling the finish along, finishing sprint if there is one at the end. And then for SBS, my first kind of foray into SBS live television, I'll be doing the start interviews. So we're doing a bit of a package with SBS before the riders get underway, and then doing the winners interview as well at the end. So about 5-10 minutes with the winner for the live stream, which is pretty cool for me because it's kind of that next step with regards to cycling commentary. Because when you get into commentating, you start basically by doing, you do your fondos, you do your local criteriums, you do your track meets, and then you start getting your bigger races and you're doing the live on ground stuff, which is great if they're criteriums, or you've got TV screens and that sort of stuff showing the rest of the race. But for a lot of the time, you're commentating just when they go past, and of course the finish, which is the most exciting part. But then your next step is getting the TV and doing some interviews here and there before getting on the big stage and calling it live, like we see Matthew Keenan, Gracie Elvin, Dave McKenzie, Rob Hatch, all the big stars. So that's kind of where I'm going, and yeah, I'm doing a little bit of start-finish line stuff for SBS, which would be really cool. So if you don't know what the Melbourne Warrnambool is, it's one of Australia's longest races, and it's also it's Australia's oldest race as well. So it's started in 1895, so it actually makes it the second oldest bike race in the world. And with the men's event being 270 kilometres, it's the second longest bike race, one day race in the world for the men's, next to San Remo. So with over 120 years of history, it's an epic race, and obviously a big deal here in Australia. Now the women's race now has its own standalone event, which is 160 kilometres, and that's the day after on the Sunday. Now at 160 Ks, the only one-day race that's longer than this for the women's calendar anywhere in the world is the UCI World Road Championships road race, so at 168 Ks. So it just goes to show this is an epic event.
Finished completely cross-eyed over the finish line there. Yeah, what a day. That was an amazing race, amazing event. Very well organised, great racing. Didn't really expect such a big group.